Well, hello everyone, I'm Postmaster Radio, and it's time to bring on the funny. You're listening to Ujokes Weekly. This is the official podcast highlighting Jonathan Mangum's fantastically funny virtual comedy show, Ujokes. This is where comedians compete for the best joke, but that's not all. You guys playing along with each and every new show on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever else. You also have a chance to snag the win. It is literally comedy gold at your fingertips. Now, you may have noticed there was no new Ujokes podcast last week. That's because the Ujokes show took last week off. But this week, we're back in action. And funny thing about this past Monday night's Ujokes show, the two contestants, first of all, ladies' night, two fantastically funny females going up against one another. The first of which you may know as the host of FMK Champs, which is on the Ujokes YouTube channel. New episode of that coming up tonight at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. It's College Humor's Carolyn Page, and she went up against Arielle Dundas, who will be one of the funny people coming up on tonight's FMK, which, oh my god, pretty funny coincidence. So yeah, I think it's safe to say this was a pretty good show all around. Now, before we get started with today's Ujokes podcast, a couple of other things I want to mention. One of them being the all-important fact that if you missed Wayne Brady crashing the most recent Ujokes show with Arielle Elias and Colin Sweeney, catch up via the podcast link in the description. The show is also on the Ujokes YouTube channel. Also, to continuing listeners, brand new ones too, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It truly means a lot. And if you're listening from Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, please leave a rating and review if it's not too much trouble. And of course, those of you that have tuned in before, you know how we do it here on Ujokes Weekly. We have the top 5 countdown devoted to my 5 favorite jokes from the week, excluding my own though, because I am the host of my own Ujokes podcast, which means that my joke from the game What's This a Commercial For? With the picture of the boy with the utensil stuck on him, and my joke, the human forklift, that will not count. But the rest of y'all from Team Audience, as long as your joke is picked by Jonathan's producer, Josh, and maybe even last show's best, we'll talk more about that at the end of the podcast, Team Audience still has a chance to maybe have my favorite joke from the night. Plus, keep listening beyond that for the Ujokes Awards, full of additional highlights to come. And now, without further ado, let's dive right in. Spot number 5 on this week's Ujokes countdown, starting off with Team Audience. Yeah, it's crazy. Team Audience. This is from the first game of the night called Name the Movie, and this is for the picture of a sloth in school. Now, the joke from Team Audience that got them the first point of the game comes from YouTube user Sophia Prado, slow learner. I mean, ironically, she probably types that in really fast, despite it being a slow joke. But that being said, well done, Sophia Prado. And now moving on up the comedy ladder to spot number 4 on the countdown, we go to Carolyn FMK Page. This time going to the last game of the night, Happy Hour. And for the picture of the queen, who appears to be drinking something, but then again, that is the point of the game, you gotta come up with the drink name. And you know what? I was admittingly a little confused by Carolyn's joke at first, but the more I think about it, the more I understand why her joke won that game. And hopefully you'll see what I mean in a second.
Okay, this is called a VOD Save the Queen, and it's just vodka and yellow food coloring. Like she acts like it's champagne and she pretends, but like everyone knows, the house staff knows, her family knows,
I mean, I find it funny because with Carolyn's joke, it's not even an actual drink she's having, but also there's that je ne sais quoi factor about it, if you know what I mean. It's just something about it makes you want to laugh, even if it's just a small chuckle. Great joke, Carolyn. Next up at spot number 3 on the countdown, we go to a game called DJ Who, and I gotta say, it could be just me, but this particular game seems to have some of the more creepier pics / fake DJs, because in this case, the picture was of a guy, very creepy looking, who is holding a doll in his hands, which I almost wish was Chucky. Yeah, don't ask me where Jonathan's producer Josh finds these pics, mainly because I have no idea, but that's not the point. The point is, my third favorite joke of the night is from that game, and for DJ Who, based on that crazy pic, you gotta come up with the DJ name. And for this one, the Facebook community snags a point thanks to William Wolf with his joke, DJ Hurts Inside. DJ Hurts Inside. Yeah, I will admit that one kind of took me a couple of seconds to get as well, but honestly for me, that had to be one of the best jokes of the night. Well done, William Wolf. And you know what? That's just entirely accurate. The joke with that pick, DJ Hertz inside, that is just, I mean, yikes. What a pick. Not even Dalai Lama would have sufficed. I don't think it would have anyway. But anyway, moving on from dolls to dumb answer. Specifically, interesting question. Why do vampires hate garlic? That's the question you gotta answer at spot number 2 on the countdown for the dumbest answer game, with the winning joke from that game coming in hot from Arielle Dundas, who answers this question with another question.
Why would they lick a gar? They don't know where it's been.
It's true! It's so true!
See, it's almost logical. It technically is, because garlic, licking a gar. So your brain has to kind of work into overtime to bring on the funny with this one. Like, what did I just hear her say? But at the same time, it's kind of an ingenious joke. I mean, why would you want to lick a gar? Whatever the hell a gar actually is. And now, last but certainly not least, the top joke of the night. This may not be that much of a surprise if you know that she has been on Ujokes before, plus the fact that she is so funny that she even filled in for a comedian one night due to a last-minute cancellation. And if you also know the fact that she is part of BYOI, Bring Your Own Improv, you know that this girl is gonna slay the comedy competition at spot number 1 on the countdown. Amy Khan coming in at the top spot. Amy Khan, and how could she not, with the joke Crown Royal, going back to Happy Hour. Well done, Amy Khan. You had the number 1 joke, for me anyway, of this week's Ujokes show. Nice job, Amy. And with that, that is it for the Ujokes Top 5 Countdown, and it is now time for the Ujokes Awards. First up, we have Comedian of the Week. I was initially going to give it to Arielle just for her garlic joke, but if you watched this week's Ujokes show, you would know that Carolyn Page brought it. Not just because she's the host of FMK, but also because, you know what, this is her second time, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the podcast. This was her second time on the Ujokes show, so of course, you knew she was going to bring it. Luckily, you guys had a bit of an easier time than I did, because I decided to ask you guys on Twitter and Instagram. Now, we did get 1 vote on Instagram for Carolyn Page. As for Twitter, speaking for the Battle of Comedians, Arielle won, but coupling that with the Insta vote for Carolyn, we have a tie between Carolyn and Arielle. Oh my goodness. So I'll have to call it a draw this time, and you know what, fair enough. Both of these ladies were incredibly fierce and funny on this week's Ujokes show. But anyway, back to the Ujokes Awards. Game of the Week is next, and the winner of that one is going to be Happy Hour, because for me, 2 of the jokes from the game were funny. So yeah, gotta go with Happy Hour. Then we have the Audience Award for the best joke to come from the Ujokes audience members. And in this case, you know, for reasons I've already explained, Amy Khan, needless to say, is the winner of the Audience Award, which I think has happened before, but nevertheless, congrats, Amy Khan. And as for the Mangum moment, the one where the spotlight is entirely on Jonathan Mangum, I gotta give it to his funny aunt versus aunt bit at the beginning of the episode. I don't know about you, but I kind of found that to be funny. Go back to the beginning of the Ujokes show, you'll see what I mean. And with that being said, that is it for the Ujokes Awards. Oh boy, crazy show this week, and that's almost it for this week's podcast, if you can believe it. But a couple of final things before we wrap it up. First, I already mentioned FMK Champs, but you know there's another show on the Ujokes YouTube channel besides FMK, and that's High Jokes Score, where jokes equal cash. Session 2 of High Jokes Score is done, and the show is on a bit of a break this week, but High Jokes Score will be back on Friday, August 6th. And for more Ujokes fun, you can go to the Ujokes website, ujokes.com, which, fun fact, was created by Ujokes fanatic Craig in the UK. Plus, you can also get Ujokes and FMK merch. It's pretty exciting. Use the link in the description, or you'll find it also via the Ujokes YouTube channel in the About section. And still speaking of Ujokes, one more thing. Although the next Ujokes show is coming up on Monday, August 2nd at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 Eastern, I probably will not be able to release a new Ujokes podcast next week, only because I have a couple of things going on next week, so the next Ujokes podcast might not be released until the second week of August. We'll see what happens. But that being said, with the next Ujokes show coming very soon, right around the corner, here's how you can take part in it if you so choose to. Yes, compete live, but what if you weren't able to compete live on this week's show, for example? Still type in your joke. Jonathan and his producer Josh will go back and look at all of the jokes, including those for, if there are any for the week, the mini Ujokes challenges on Jonathan's Facebook page, which by the way can also be accessed via the community page of the Ujokes YouTube channel. In either case, whichever joke is number 1, whoever submitted that joke gets to compete live on the next Ujokes show. In the final round of play, that person will meet Jonathan. They'll go up against the pros and team audience. You do not want to forego an opportunity like that. And guys, that is it. We are officially out of time. Thank you for tuning in to Ujokes Weekly. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. And if you want to get more of Ujokes Weekly, pas de problème, make sure you stay connected with me on Twitter and Instagram at Postmaster Radio. Plus, like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review on the Apple and Google podcast platforms, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, CastBox, Podcast Addict. The list goes on. The account links are in the description. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, well, bye for now, my funny people. See ya!